Hey everybody, good morning. It's a nice sunny day here in Southern California, or soon to be. It's drying up a little bit because we had some rain, but I'm going to be doing an oil change video for anybody who's kind of a beginner and not really sure how to do this. I know a lot of you who worked on your cars know how to change the oil, but I want to go through and do my best to make a good video so that we have everything kind of compiled in the same place here for maintenance. So some of the things I'm going to be using, a drain pan obviously. Make sure you get a decent sized drain pan. There is 6 quarts of fluid in here. I think it's actually like 6.2. So if you get like a little 7-quart round one, you're going to be really having a hard time getting it all to pour out of there, or getting it to pour out of there at all without spilling it everywhere. The rags obviously. Gloves, if you want to use rubber gloves, you might get a little dirty doing this, but I should be able to stay clean. I just wanted to show you these. These gloves are nitrile, and these ones are 10 mil. Most of your standard gloves are going to be 6 mil, and there's a huge difference. In 6 months of pretty heavy use of them, I think I've ripped 2 gloves. So you don't really need a box of 100. They do have like a 30 pack. But I tend to throw them away because they get stained. They say single use on them, which is kind of funny, but yeah, they last a long time. Some of the other things, I got a new drain plug here, and this is kind of a cool boxing of it. Believe it or not, this little magnetic box is a new magnetic drain plug. And that's the size there for the drain plug. It's an M12 by 1.25. You don't necessarily have to get this one, but this one's a nice one. And it's got a crush washer with it. You don't necessarily have to have a copper crush washer. There are aluminum ones that'll work too. But you generally want to replace your crush washer whenever you change the oil, because you don't want to leak down there. And you may not get a leak using the old one, but if you do reuse the old one, check it in a couple days, make sure it's not leaking. And this here is a really cool upgrade. The filter housing on here is plastic, and a lot of people have had problems with it breaking. Well, this one I believe is made specifically for the RX 350, the Lexus, but it is metal, and that's a lot safer. If you get that other one over torqued in there, getting it out could be real difficult, and you may even break it. Jeez, they really wrap things up these days. Sorry guys, one hand is a little tough, but there it is there. Real nice and solid, and it even tells you the torque spec on it, so that'll be good. And then oil and filter. It does take 6.2 quarts, I believe it is. You could get individual quarts, but why not get a couple gallons so that you can have more for the next time you change your oil. AMSOIL is a really nice brand. These are the guys who made the very first API approved 100% synthetic motor oil, and the founder is a veteran, and it's a family-owned company, so I like to support them. But you can get anything that's a 0W20, and for the filter, this is the AMSOIL filter. The filters are rated for 15,000 miles, and the oil, the Signature series, is actually rated for 25,000 miles. Now I'm in the desert, so I wouldn't go that far, but it's a really good oil. And then the filter here, if you see, it's got metal end caps. The other ones that you get, they don't even have end caps, even the Toyota one. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm not sure that they've got rubber seals, anything like that either. It's a real solid rubber seal, and there's a lot of pleats. And the more pleats you have, the more area for dirt and contaminants to get trapped. So that's an excellent filter, the best I've ever seen as far as this truck goes. For the filter housing, you'll need a special socket. This one here is by MotiveX Tools, and it works phenomenally. It was a little expensive for a socket, but for what it does, it's not too bad. It was about 30 bucks, and You see it's made in USA, but what you need is a 64.3 millimeter 14 flute. And there's a part number there, MX2320. And when you put that on here, it fits really securely, like perfectly. And this part here, you do have a 3/8 hole. However, that part is just to remove this center plug. And that center plug, what it is, there's a tool that, like a little plastic tool that comes with most of the filters, and you push it in there and it helps drain the oil. But to me, it's a big mess. It's not even worth it. I just loosen up the filter, let it drain down, and, you know, get a little tiny bit of oil on me. If you let it drain, then it won't be too bad. And then we're gonna need a ratchet. This is a 3/8, 1/2 work fine. You'll need an extension, either one of these. If you do not have the 4-wheel drive, you probably do not have a skid plate back there, so you may not need even an extension or even a ratchet. You may be able to just do it with a wrench, but the extension is one of the two is needed for getting past the skid plate, the secondary skid plate. For sockets, you'll need a 12 and a 14. I'm using a 13 because my skid plate bolts I've replaced with a 13 millimeter, but the original skid plate bolts are a 12, and the drain plug is a 14 millimeter. And this replacement drain plug that I got over here is also a 14 millimeter. Obviously a torque wrench. You want to make sure you torque these back. I believe the torque on the housing, the 25 plus or minus 5, comes out to 15 to 22 foot-pounds, so about 18. And for the drain plug, I believe it's 30 foot-pounds, but I'll verify that and get back to you on that. And I think the other was the skid plates, but I'll have to check that and get back to you with that torque spec. And this you don't necessarily need, but a pair of channel locks is kind of cool, because on these, strangely enough, there's an issue with the caps coming loose and coming off. So people tend to maybe tighten them a little too tight, so you might need that to get the cap off. Obviously you want to check that first if you don't have a tool before you start draining it, because you don't want to end up where you can't refill it. The other thing is this here, a little wand with a magnet on it. These are nice because when you pull that drain plug, if you have this extended, then you can pull it out and not get oil on yourself, and the drain plug won't fall into the drain pan. So also a mat. These are real nice, these absorbent mats. This one's a little one, but I got a real big one here. It's like 3 by 5 feet, and that'll keep me safe from getting anything on the driveway here, because it's pretty clean. And then of course my mat that I like to lay on. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull the skid plate on the skid plate. One other thing, before you do this, make sure you drive the truck. Go for about a 5-10 minute drive and get it all warmed up, so that the oil gets warmed up, so it'll flow out better. And then, you know, just while you're removing the skid plate and getting prepped, it'll kind of cool down a little. But on here there are 4 bolts. There's one right here, and I believe yeah, I don't think that's a lock there, but in any case, there's 4 bolts. Those 2, sorry guys, one there, and then on back there is one here, and one, jeez, not doing too good this morning, guys. One there. So boom, 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 and there. Now when you remove these, if you'll notice on here, there's these little hooks. So if you remove the front 2 first, it'll drop down on those hooks and hold it in place while you remove the other 2. If you remove the back 2 first, then the back of the plate is going to be hanging down, and as you remove these, it's going to hang down lower and lower and want to bend and get in the way. So always do the first 2, or I mean the front 2, and then the back 2, and when you do that last bolt, just kind of hold this skid plate so it doesn't fall on you. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, and I'll be right back. One little thing, when you're taking the bolts out, if you're not, used to pulling stuff like this, it's easy to get the ratchet to turn sideways on you, and you can end up rounding off the corners of the bolt. So when you have the ratchet on there, keep your other hand on the back of the head so that you can hold the head from twisting sideways on you. That way you won't round off the bolts and need to replace them like I did, because I took it somewhere and they stripped out the bolts, or at least one or two of them. So yeah, just make sure it doesn't flip sideways. Okay guys, so you learn something new every day, even I do. On the skid plate here, you can see the hook over here didn't go all the way down, and I was kind of wondering why. This one did. But in the back here, when I put the skid plate back in last time, I put it underneath those hooks there, and it should be on the bottom side of it. So it's kind of wedged in there, so I'm gonna kind of have to bang it around a little bit just to get it out of there, and then pull it forward so that I can get it off of the hooks. So when you put it back, make sure that you hook it on the hooks and pull it up to the bottom of that before you put the bolts in. So I'll be back. Okay, to correct myself, I did not stick the front drain pan in up underneath that, which this would only matter on the four-wheel drives. I think it's the TRD Off-Road and TRD Pro with the secondary skid plate there. But what I actually did is, when I did the front differential, I put the second skid plate up second and did not tuck it underneath the front skid plate. So it was kind of wedged in there. If somebody does that, it's kind of a bit of a pain to get it out of there. But if you bang it around and maneuver it, pull it towards the front with it angled down, then you can get it out of there. So hopefully you don't have to deal with that, especially if it's your first time. Okay, so looking under from the front here, right back here behind the sway bar and in front of the cross member, you can see your filter housing there. Now you can see there is a 3/8 inch drive hole in the bottom, but that one there is for, and should just pull out that center metal portion. And what that's for is, there's a little plastic tool that comes with most of the filters that you can stick up inside there after you pull that, and it kind of opens up a little ball valve and lets the fluid flow out. But to me, it's a big mess. So what I do is I just loosen the filter housing and get it to where the oil starts pouring out a little bit, and then just let it sit for a while and let it drain all the way. But it's up to you. The drain plug for the oil is going to be back in this opening right here. If you have the secondary skid plate. If you don't, it's a real skinny front to back. It's not very deep front to back drain pan. Not like the typical large drain pans. This one's real small and tucked back in there. I don't know if I can show you, but yeah, there we go. There is the drain plug right there, and that's your 14 millimeter, and that's the one that you need to replace the crush washer on. So crush washers you can get in a little kit if you're not replacing the drain plug. So just look up aluminum or copper crush washers and you'll find them. And because it's an M12, obviously you'll need the M12 size. So let me go ahead and do, what I wanted to say, before you do this, my recommendation is make sure you can crack everything loose so that you don't end up partway through not able to open something. So that means loosen the drain plug just enough to where it just barely starts to loosen, and then tighten it back a little bit, and then on the filter housing the same thing, and even the oil cap, do the same thing there, because if you can't open that, well, then you'll definitely be in trouble, because you can't put oil back in after it's drained out, and yeah, you'll be stuck for a moment. But I'll be right back after I get my drain pan set up, and we'll go ahead and drain the oil. Most people will tell you to open the cap and let it vent before you take the drain plug out. To me, I think the best way to do it is to open the drain plug before you open the cap, because that way the air has to go back in through the same hole, so it prevents the oil from coming out as fast. And then once you get the drain plug pulled out of there, then just go back up above and open the oil cap and pull the dipstick up just to open the seal there so that it can drain more thoroughly. Morning!
How you doing?
Good! Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I did get the check engine light off. I got those plugs in.
Give me a minute. Taking a video. So sorry, guys. One of the neighborhood guys stopped by to say hi. So excuse me. But I'll go ahead and get the drain pan set up, and we'll drain that out, and I'll show you how it flows with the cap on, and then also how it flows once I pull that. So I'll be right back. So, kind of cool. This is what I was talking about, guys. This was down in the bottom of the box, and I didn't realize I had it. You have the two O-rings here to replace. On the filter housing, you have one down here in that groove, and then you also have one up here. And I took the cap off, and there's the other one. Now, I've never used one of these before, these little plastic pieces, and the reason is because the other ones, you just push it in, and the oil spills everywhere. This one, AMSOIL, is smart. It's a screw in. And if you look in here, there's threads. So all you do is just screw this in, and it pops the valve open and drains it out. So today, thanks to AMSOIL, I will not be getting oil on me probably at all. That's a beautiful design, and I'm going to keep that just in case I know anybody who needs one for changing it out in theirs, because I don't think I'll ever buy another filter. But yeah, so this one here, I believe the torque on that one is somewhere around 10 or 12 foot-pounds, but I'll verify that too and get back to you on that one. But so we will be doing the draining of the filter through that, and the drain plug I'm about to pull out, but I've checked to make sure everything's loose. But the drain plug, if you have one like this, not only do you want to make sure you get the cap removed inside, very important, because otherwise you're going to make a huge mess, but also open that vent there, because otherwise the air inside is going to be coming out, and your oil inside the top here is going to be bubbling and splashing everywhere. So hope that helps. Almost forgot. This here, a lot of times people will tighten these really tight. It does not take a lot to tighten it, but if you put a ratchet in here, I'm terrible on camera, sorry guys, but if you put a ratchet in here and you have a hard time turning it, you can get a piece of pipe and put it over the end. That'll make it a lot easier if you have a piece of pipe that's that size. And I don't recommend it if you can help it, but you can take a wrench, a 17 millimeter or larger wrench in this case, go over the end and angle it so that it will be a pry bar to push your ratchet with more strength. However, when you do this, be very careful that the wrench doesn't go up or down, or it'll kind of twist on you. And believe it or not, I've actually cut my hand doing that. Believe it or not, that scar right there is from trying to do that exact thing with a new wrench, trying to break free lug nuts that somebody had used an impact to get on, and it bled pretty good. So that's why I don't necessarily recommend it. A pipe is much better, but if you have to, if you use two hands and you're very careful, you can do it that way as a last resort. Okay, so I have my drain plug really loose, and I went ahead and put my magnet on it. You can feel it when it gets real close to the end. the bolt kind of wobbles just a little bit. So on some of them you have more clearance to get a hold of it with the magnet. You might even be able to twist it out, but this magnet's not really strong enough. It was a pretty cheap one, but so I got the magnet attached to it just so that when it drops it'll hold it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of loosen it from the side here if I can and show you how much it flows, and then I'm going to go up above and I'm going to remove the dipstick and the cap real quick. So on the channel locks, the pliers, they're adjustable, so I have them adjusted to the right size to grab the oil cap the right way. So I'll show you when I get up there how it grips on. But let's see if I can get in here. Oh boy. No way to really see it. Oh, there we go. Gonna get a little bit on my fingers, but maybe a lot of it on my fingers. This was not the way to go in, guys. Do not go in that way. Make it a big old mess. That's why you have the absorbent pad there. I think I made this into about the worst possible video I could right there. But we're going to leave that in because, you know, that may happen to you. So hopefully my experience will keep you from having the same. So you saw how the oil was coming out before, and I do not have this set right anymore. This is what happens when you get on camera. Nothing goes like it should. So I want to make sure I got a good area on there so that I'm not putting all the pressure on one point, and then just twist it. And then once you do that, it should be fairly easy to just twist it off. And then pop this guy up, and of course by now it's already stopped pouring. But if I had gotten that out of there without getting oil everywhere, you would see that when you pull the fill cap and the dipstick, it'll flow out a lot faster than that. So if I had, I would have made an even bigger mess. So that's why I left that on there. But try to not do that like I did. So I'll be back in a minute after I clean up my mess. Okay guys, so I got myself cleaned up, but in hindsight, what I would recommend, if you have the TRD, remove the secondary skid plate before you pull that drain plug, because the angle there, you're just going to get oil on you for sure, and it's not that hard to pull it off. There's just 4 bolts, one there, one over on the opposite side, and then these 2 recessed here and over on the opposite side there. So you can use that same little extension and your 12 millimeter on those 2. Mine just to look a little different because I replaced those as well. But what, you know, there's not really room to get up there except for through the side here. And the problem with that is when I tried to pull my arm back out, I hit my elbow on the edge there that raises up on the skid plate. And so, of course, my reaction was to panic and, you know, move my hand, and that pulled it right into the stream of oil, and it started going everywhere. So yeah, if I'd done it again, I think I would have just taken the magnet and held it directly below it and to the side, and then brought my arm in from the side and just with 2 fingers loosened up the drain plug and then let it drop to where the magnet would catch it. But, you know, no matter how long you've been doing this, you still have moments. Just laugh at it and go on to the next thing. And, you know, don't be critical on yourself. It it happens to the experts too. So yeah, well, that was fun. So hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Okay guys, so obviously you can see here I had a real problem with my battery with some corrosion, so I'll try to make a video of that to show what I did. I just didn't think about making a video when I did it, but something I wanted to show here is it got a little concerning when I looked in here. If you can see inside there, it's kind of got an orange residue and it almost looks like rust, but you know, it doesn't mean I have a blown head gasket. It's just a little varnish and condensation rust that has gotten in there. So the plastic of the neck can get stained by that. So if you see that in there, don't panic. It's okay. So yeah. Okay guys, so apparently the universe is trying to tell me that I should have worn rubber gloves today, because that valve in there apparently is leaking, because when I pulled that cap, oil came out. So yeah, I'm getting lots of oil on me today when I thought I'd be completely clean. So you never know what to expect. But I'm gonna go ahead and put that little valve in here so we can see how it works, because I know the press-in one that comes with the Toyota one is not very good. Every video that I've seen of somebody trying to use it, it did not work very well. So I'm gonna keep my hand out of the way. Oh, there it goes. And it's not leaking anywhere. That is phenomenal. Wow. Amsoil, you guys did an amazing job with that. Every other oil filter I've seen does not have anything close. It's got like a little pop in, almost like a rivet or something, and as soon as you push it in, it spills oil out everywhere. This one, you saw it here, it's amazingly beautiful. So I'm gonna let that drain and then go ahead and pull that off. I'll go ahead and put the plug here. Plug, I'll put that back in after this is done draining, and then so that I don't have any more oil dripping on my tool, and then I'll put my socket up on there and remove that, and then I'll come back so we can look at the filter and the difference between the new one and the one that's already on there. So and also the drain plug. I want to show you what the drain plug, the original drain plug, looks like compared to the replacement. So I'll fish that out of there and get set up for that. Okay guys, one tool I forgot, the funnel, of course. Obvious, but either one of those will work. Obviously the bigger one, you're gonna have less chance of spilling, and there's even ones with a long spout if you want that. But on the, let's go with the drain plug first. On the drain plug, you can see here's the factory one that I pulled out. Yeah, I got cut by the skid plate there. Good times. But here is the new drain plug with the magnet, and you can see there's no magnet on the original one, and this has got a nice strong magnet, so it's going to pull out a lot of contaminants and a lot of metal particles. Now obviously those particles will get trapped in your filter too, but this is like a pre-filter basically. It's going to take any of those medical particles that are produced when your engine's wearing, and it'll hold them there rather than plugging up your filter too. So on the filter, the old one here, you can see, I believe this is a Toyota filter. I can't recall exactly, but I'm pretty certain it is. And you can see there's no end cap, and the seal on the end really isn't as good. It looks like there's more pleats, and they're thicker pleats. And this is not just about the size and shape, it's about the material, the fabric in there. This fabric in here is going to allow it to both store more contaminants in it, and also less restriction, so that your engine's getting lubricated better. So that's a huge thing. You know, if you want your engine to last, it's worth it. It is a little more money, but you know, you want to pay it now or later. On the gaskets, make sure you change both of these. This little one is going to be for your housing, and you can see here it goes in that groove. And then the large one there is going to go in this groove here. Pull that out, try to get a pick in there, or I just got it with my fingernail, but if you need to, even a screwdriver, just if you do, make sure you don't scratch up that surface, particularly if you have the plastic one. And I think that was it for the moment that I was going to explain, but I'm sure I'll be back with something. So let me get set up for the next step, and that's going to be putting in the new filter housing with the filter and our magnetic drain plug. So I'll be right back. Also, you notice here I used 2 drain plugs, or 2 drain pans. You don't necessarily have to. I just wanted to leave that one back there under the drain pan so that no oil would drain out while I was pulling the filter. If you're using the same pan, you can just, once you drain the oil, go ahead and put the drain plug back in the drain pan back there and torque that one down, and then you can go ahead and get the filter housing. Okay, so a couple things here. When you do your filters and your O-rings here, your seals, all of those rubber seals, make sure you coat in a little bit of new oil before you put them on. That way when you're putting them in, the rubber doesn't bind up. It'll slide easier. Now also, the truck apparently wants to give us a really good video because every irregular thing is happening here. Or maybe this is regular, I don't know. Somebody let me know. But when you pull the drain plug, if you'll notice here, we have a crush washer on this one, and on this one we do not. So if you do not have a crush washer on this, it does not mean that it wasn't made with one. What it likely means is that the crush washer is still on the bottom of the oil drain pan. So what you're going to want to do is get that off of there. If you have a plastic little pry bar tool, that's perfect. But if not, just a flathead screwdriver with some tape wrapped around the end will work just as well. You're going to wrap the tape around the end because that way when you're scraping against the oil pan, you're not marring the sealing surface there. So yeah, so I'm going to crawl up underneath there real quick and we'll take a look and see if it's on there, which I'm pretty certain it is. Okay guys, back underneath here from behind the wheel. It's a little tight, but maybe easier than from the front if you need to. But look up under here at the drain pan. There is our crush washer, so we just need to scrape it off of there. I actually do have plastic pry tools, but I wanted to make sure it could be done with just a screwdriver and some tape so that where am I even pointing? Jeez, guys, sorry guys, hard to look at both things at once. But if that is a crush washer, it is really on there. I'm thinking that is not a crush washer. But let me put the camera down and see if I can tell for sure, because it's pretty solid.